Welcome back to Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation, Anime Review, episode number 24. We are reviewing the 24th episode of the series. 27, excuse me. 27th episode, which is for, well, they call this Mushoku Tensei 2, though it's technically the third episode, well, fourth overall. So, this episode is called Abrupt Approach. This adapts from chapters 5 and 6, along with the second half of the epilogue from the book. Now, in case you're curious, the book has an extra story that was adapted already for an episode of season 1 for the show. And you're thinking, really? Yes. Yes, it was. And if you're curious, what episode was adapted for? Episode 23. Yes. They adapted this for the last episode. They also adapted chapter 13. Oh yeah, that was basically some. So they adapted the interlude, the next chapter from this book, for the last season. So pretty much in the way, if you think about it, this whole book is done. Yeah, and they did it in just 3 episodes. Which, kind of surprising, the fact that basically they did this. I mean, do I think they adapted pretty much everything from the book? Mostly yes. Now, there's some stuff they skipped. Basically, mostly what they skipped to was some dialogue here and there. The opening scene is basically Rudy with Counter Arrow, where he's revealed a conversation where he's been drinking. While drinking with them, basically he's working with them a while. They do cut the portion where he mentioned the Garrett family. That is actually cut out here. Yeah, mostly put a lot of the dialogue cut from this episode. And most was self-explanatory stuff. It's probably not there to drive the force of the episode, but it's not all important in the grand scheme of things. In the case of this, now basically Sarah's getting closer to him. Of course, she feels her father used to be a hunter. Now, they do mention a little bit about his father later on in the episode, but don't mention about his mother per se. They mention Roxy in the episode. That was quite nice. Sarah's a bit uncomfortable with that, but then Sarah inadvertently asked him on a date to help her buy a new blade for basically cleaning her weapons, which of course he agrees to. And they go on a little date together, and they go out drinking, and, well, then this leads into a scene that pretty much finished up basically chapter 5 of the book, where Rudius and Sarah attempted to have sex. Yes, they seriously do this. And he's about to do it, and he realizes, though, oh crap, I can't do it. Yeah. And then Sarah leaves. Yeah, basically do this in his room. Then, of course, he was drinking and runs into, while he's out drinking, basically, he's like, let's just say, he runs into Soldit. Yes, he runs into Soldit. Yeah. While he's out drinking. And he reveals what happened at the end of the previous season's show, where he and Eris did it, too, first time he did it, and she left them the very next morning. This is him basically trying to get over that. So then the courier takes her to a professional to take a look at why he can't do the deed while having sex. Takes to a prostitute. Yes, takes to a prostitute, and she can't do anything for him. And of course they just walk off after that. And then of course he badmouths Sarah, and Sarah slaps him because she overhears what he says. And then, of course, she drops the blade that he bought for her right in front of him. And we don't see her again. And then the episode ends. Well, there's a post-credit scene of basically Solid asking Rudius to join his party for a quest to go to a labyrinth, which Rudius agrees to. That kind of is the episode. Then we have this post-credit scene, which is from the second half of the epilogue. Yes, and I do think that the first half will be adapted next week because based on what I read there, it makes total sense. We see these two guys bragging about Rudius in the bar, bragging about Rudius, and then we see this beautiful red hair elf woman, Elsa, an old friend of Rudeus's father, and future wife to a character we've already seen in an OVA. Well, basically that happens later on in the series. And she over here is like, gentlemen, tell me about the Quagmire Rudeus. In exchange, you get to basically sleep with me. That's kind of, yeah. Basically, she wants like this information in exchange for them to have sex with her. Yes, because she is sex crazy. That's her character. She is sex crazy. That's literally the whole thing when it comes to this character. That does calm down a little bit later on in the series. Don't worry about that. And, well, that's the episode. It's a good episode to kind of wrap up basically book 7 here. Though I'm gonna keep on there for book 7. Now, the only thing you can majorly say that was cut from this episode was Sarah's POV scene. Yes, there are several POV scenes for her in the book. I like to think about 2 or 3 at most. And I think that, and this is my honest opinion, studio who makes this series, can you turn those POVs into an OVA? Because that might be interesting, especially since one of these scenes does basically reveal what happens next after Sarah after the scene. If you're curious, what happens with Sarah? She actually regrets what she did and tries to find Rudeus, but he's already left town. That's what was majorly, that was just that was her POV story in the book. She has about 2 or 3 in the book. And it's surprising, though, they never adapt these scenes. My guess is I'll focus on Rudy because he's a star. But I think in the case of her scenes, we should save those for an OVA. I don't think we should do a whole direct episode of it, per se. I think the show will be saved for an OVA. Kind of like we did last season. We had that Eris Goblet Slayer stuff, which was basically a mid-chapter for an OVA. These POV stories can be excellent for an OVA. It would totally work. It could be this season's first OVA. But we have to wait until probably the season to wait for that. Now, if you're curious though, does Sarah return after basically book 7? Yes, she has not returned until 7 books later. She returns in book 14 of the series. She makes overall 1 appearance after that, and she's done. Yeah, Sarah Lee pops up. She's only in 3 books of the entire series. 7, 14, and 23. Have read 23 yet? No, I haven't, but I read she does appear in that book, and that's basically kind of like her finale for the series. But, yeah, that's particularly it, particular view. Now, next week's episode, we're going to get to the quite interesting stuff that I've been looking forward to seeing adapt. And that is, if you're curious what that is going to adapt next week, we're going to go to the University arc, which basically covers books 8 and 9. This, in my opinion, is really important to adapt. I did hear something that apparently this particular arc was not well received. They thought this arc was boring, this whole university stuff. I had no issue with it at all, because this is a very important character arc. Does it like much action per se? No, but it does resolve a plot thread that came about at the end of book 6. Basically, by book 9, it gets resolved. What is, you might ask? Not going to say. Plus, Rudeus finds out about Silent Fits here. Basically, we bring back the characters we saw back at the OVA. We had episode 0, Guardian Fits. We continue that with this very next episode. Now, if you are really curious about the next 2 books. Now, basically, book 7 was roughly 6 chapters and an epilogue. Of course, there's next chapter 2. Book 7 is roughly 8 chapters. Yes, 8. So, next episode is called Levitation. So, I would not be surprised if one of the chapters is going to die for next week's episode. So, based on what we see here, 8 chapters plus the prelude. Of course, also the side story, Salvatite. I think this part could be about 4 episodes. Yeah, I think so. Given the fact they like adapting 2 chapters per episodes, I'm thinking 4 or 5 episodes. So, my presumption is that this will be wrapped up. My guess is by episode 8. That is, actually no, I think episode 8 And then, well, going to book 9, which I know they're going to adapt this one. This one's longer. Yeah, book 9 is longer. This one's 11 chapters. I think the side story stuff, that might be out for something else. But I think in the case of this one, this might basically, well, where the breaking point of the season will. But who knows when they're going to adapt it. If I'm going to take a guess, given the fact it's 11 chapters, this could take about 6 episodes altogether. Yes, I do think so. But yeah, that's particularly it, particular view. Um, and that's pretty much it for video tonight. So tomorrow, I'm getting very close to finishing up the book for the Missing Academy. So I'm hoping to get a chance to resume talk about that tomorrow. And then pretty much in the way, just, well, presumably finish up watching the anime. Which is probably going to be finished up tomorrow. Actually, there's only 6 episodes left to go, so hopefully it doesn't take too long and I can move into something else. Yes. But yeah, so tomorrow. Now, I was going to do a comic corner, but no time. So I'll do a comic corner tomorrow, okay?